It's a video that's gotten nationwide attention.
That's who you are.
Buffalo Police Lieutenant Michael DeLong captured on camera using a derogatory term against a woman while she records him on her cell phone. The woman behind the camera is Ruwaida Salim, who says she was in shock when the incident initially happened.
I didn't expect for the situation to escalate as far as it did.
Ruwaida told me she was with a friend at this 7-Eleven on Prospect Avenue on Sunday when they saw a man standing outside as they were going in. On their way out, she saw multiple officers approach him. She told me one of the officers had a baton, and that's when she decided to start recording.
And I didn't want to leave him there.
According to Ruwaida, another officer on scene yelled at her and told her to leave. Eventually, DeLong approached her, and the events in the now viral clip followed soon after.
I became really upset when the lieutenant came towards me. I don't think it's appropriate to talk to a civilian that you're supposed to protect in that way.
Ruwaida also told me after the incident, an officer took note of her friend's license plate before they got in the car and drove off. Shortly after, they were pulled over for going the wrong way on a one-way street. And she told me, aside from DeLong's words, she believes his actions toward her were racially motivated. The president of the Police Benevolent Association, John Evans, sees it differently.
I get it, we're police officers, supposed to be professional and everything else. But, did he get caught at a weak moment? She absolutely caught him at a weak moment.
He tells me he hasn't spoken with DeLong about the incident, but he's known him for some time and says race wasn't a factor.
I don't think you'll see, Lieutenant DeLong involved in anything like that again. He's learned obviously from it. And, I don't know, that'll be that.
But for Ruwaida, that's not enough.
I want him fired. I want his pension gone.
Here's where things stand right now with this incident. Lieutenant DeLong has been suspended without pay while an investigation into what happened takes place. Additionally, John Evans says he wants to see DeLong's training card to see if he completed a cultural competency training that should have prepared him for the incident on Sunday. In Buffalo, I'm Karys Belger. Back to you. Across Western New York, vaccines are being rolled out according to the governor's distribution plan. Earlier this month, Governor Cuomo made it clear he wants people of color to be made a priority for the vaccine. But there's just one thing.
It just doesn't make me feel comfortable or make me feel at ease.
There's still mistrust among people of color about the vaccine. Keisha Lawson, who lives in Buffalo, says there's a number of factors at play in her hesitation. The speed with which the vaccine was produced is one, and the other,
given the history of, the public health system with regard to people of color's health, I'm just not sold.
Henry Louis Taylor is a professor at the University at Buffalo and works with the Health Equity Task Force. He says not only is this feeling common among people he's spoken with, it's also completely understandable.
Historically, African Americans have been victimized by the medical industry. Many people now are aware of the Tuskegee syphilis events. There were efforts made to sterilize Black women without their knowledge.
Stories of events like these have been passed down in communities of color, and he says getting over that suspicion will be the biggest hurdle. But Taylor does believe education will be part of the solution. The other part will be connecting with people in the community.
This is why members of that community that are really, really trusted are the ones that stand forward.
Keisha tells me something like this might help, but she still wouldn't completely be sure. She doesn't think she will get the vaccine unless someone close to her said it was safe.
My next door neighbor, telling me that they got it, and months later, they're still feeling fine. That's what makes us more comfortable.
And Heather, I should mention that I put out a call on social media asking people of color in the area, same question, would you get the vaccine? And if not, why? And a lot of them said the same things Keisha, the woman in my story, said. They're not sure about the speed in which this vaccine was rolled out, but also the historical mistreatment of people of color by medical professionals makes them hesitant. In Buffalo, I'm Karys Belger. Back to you. Jamira McKnight has never shied away from a challenge.
Whenever I hear something I can't do, then I make up my own way.
She kept that motivation even when life handed her a pretty big one.
Your blood cells are different, so yours are just circle. Mine are just like circle and shaped like bananas or a crescent.
Jamira has sickle cell disease, which makes her prone to severe pain episodes. The condition also means her immune system is severely compromised. The COVID-19 pandemic presented Jamira and her mother with a new hurdle.
With her having an autoimmune, which makes her more susceptible to the COVID, I was absolutely afraid.
Sherry McKnight pulled her daughter out of school almost immediately when the pandemic first started. Now they face a new obstacle. Jamira is set to begin school in the Depew Union Free School District in September. The reopening plan specifically addresses concerns for students with underlying conditions. But Sherry McKnight is still concerned about her daughter's health. And they're not the only family that's worried.
We've actually been fielding this question for several weeks from pretty much every one of our parents, I think.
Dr. Barbara Bamback is a pediatric hematologist and oncologist at Roswell Park. Bamback says Roswell has reached out to all the school districts where she has patients to ask them about their plans.
We need to make sure that there are enough precautions in place to help keep our patients safe.
Bamback tells me some districts she's spoken to are more prepared than others, but she hopes they will consider her input for the sake of the students. As for Jamira and her family, they plan to tackle this latest challenge one day at a time. Yeah, hi there, Kate. When I was speaking to people about Black American Sign Language, they said it was like ASL, but with a little more seasoning. And there are a few distinct differences between the two. For example, simple words like hurt look a little different. In ASL, this is hurt. In Black American Sign Language, this is hurt. And those are just a few of the nuances. And I found that the history of BASL is just as rich as the language itself. Take a look at this sign language TikTok video. The woman in this video is Nakia Smith, and you may notice she's not using standardized ASL. Nakia is using Black American Sign Language, and along with other users on the TikTok app, she's bringing attention to an often overlooked part of Black history.
You think at the end of the Civil War, over 100 years ago, and people are just starting to learn about it.
Dr. Hill is a linguistic professor and dean at the Rochester Institute of Technology. He's been working for years to help preserve Black American Sign Language. He says, like many things in Black history and culture, Black ASL was born out of necessity.
So Black deaf people who were living in the South didn't really attend school. Even though there were white deaf schools, Black deaf children were forbidden from enrolling in them. And so after the Civil War, they did start establishing Black deaf schools, and they were segregated, which meant that there were to be no contact between white and Black deaf people, including the children.
As a result, Black people in the deaf community made their own signs and developed their own language. It's been the subject of research papers, books, and a documentary. Signing Black in America, which Hill makes an appearance in, details the story of Black American Sign Language.
Many of the students would talk about how white ASL was so much better and so much clearer. The books at the white schools were better. So there was this sense that standardized ASL or white ASL was better than Black ASL.
Which Hill says led to code switching, where Black deaf people would primarily use standardized ASL in public and Black ASL in private, or sometimes not at all. Now, viral videos like this one by Nakia Smith are pushing Black American Sign Language back into the spotlight. Other TikTok users like Andre or DJ DefTunes are doing the same. Dr. Hill says it's users like them that are preserving the language, and he hopes the momentum will prompt real understanding and change for people of color in the deaf community. Karys Belger, Channel 2 News.